The Ravens have won the AFC North for a second straight year in a row. So much to talk about on this episode of the Purple Rain podcast. Yes, welcome back to episode 290 of the Purple Rain podcast, the Rob Burnett episode, a Pernell McPhee, Trevor Price, Darius Smith, and David Ajabo episode of the Purple Rain podcast. Thank you for coming through this episode. Much appreciated. We have a very, very exciting episode. Very big week for the Ravens for many reasons. But first and foremost, you can follow us on Instagram at the Purple Rain podcast. You follow this over here on Instagram or on X at Sutton Death. You can follow me on Instagram at simplyas10.prod or on X at simplyas10. And most importantly, our sponsor, Manscaped. Use code P for 20% off your whole order and free international shipping. Yes, it was a very good weekend, a good Saturday. We found out a lot about this Ravens team and, who we're going to play on Saturday. But I have to ask you, how was your weekend and how was, watching the game? How are you feeling right now?
Honestly, I'm feeling a few things. First and foremost, I do just want to give a quick shout to our new streaming studio that we're using today. This is the first time we're kind of piloting this. So, if it's a good experience, if you can hear us, if you can see us well, let us know in the chat. We would love to know how this one is doing so far. But I'm doing well, Alex. I really am. What is it? 4-game win streak the Ravens are on
Mm-hmm.
right now. 4-game win streak. We're going in strong towards the playoffs. We said this literally a month ago. This is what we needed. Finish the season strong and go into the playoffs with some confidence, with some damn momentum. So, the happy train for me when it comes to the Ravens is only getting stronger and stronger. I'm very, very excited about this postseason. And honestly, I was thinking about this earlier today. There's a lot of teams. There are a lot of teams who got their season ended yesterday. A lot of fans of teams who don't have any football to look forward to in terms of their own fandom until August, right? But for the Ravens and the Ravens flock, and let me know if you guys feel the same way in the comments, it feels like the season is just beginning, right? Because Alex, you and I, the Monday following that AFC Championship game loss last season, we sat here and we told each other on live, we said, hey, look, next season, meaning this season, was going to be the regular season was not necessarily pointless, but it just wasn't going to feel like anything real, anything tangible, anything important enough. You know what I'm saying? Like now is where the going gets tough. Now is where we really, really need to prove ourselves. Everybody knew, including Ravens fans, how good this Ravens team would be in the regular season, right? 12-5 was actually the record that you predicted before the season. You predicted 12-5. I think I predicted 13-4. Yeah, I did. I predicted 13-4. So shout out to you. You're right about that. And but now listen, now's the playoffs. Now is the ultimate. Every week is check your manhood week. Shout out to Roquan Smith, right? But I say all that to say, I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling good. Let me see who else is feeling good here in the chat. We got SG in the house. What's going on, SG? Appreciate you for coming through, popping through the stream. We got Dre in the house as everything is fire. Love that, Dre. Trust me, that is music to my ears right now. Like, because for so long, I felt like StreamYard just wasn't doing it. And that's what we were using before. So many people use StreamYard. In the past like year or so, it's really just been crappy. So we wanted to, try to change it up, and hopefully this works out for us. This new software that we're using. Of course, Mod K Dog in the house giving a shout out to the Manscaped as code PRP. Yes, sir. You get 20% off your entire order plus the free international shipping. You guys heard Alex. And then also giving a big shout out to the hashtag replay gang, right? If you're not watching this episode 290 of the Purple Rain podcast live, hello. Thank you for joining the replay gang. Make sure you leave your comments, questions, concerns, whatever you got down below in the comment section. We do like to get to those as well. As y'all know, we got Cheat Gay in the house as real football starts now.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, man. That's how I'm feeling. How are you feeling about this, Alex? Because we talked about the same thing a couple of months ago before the season started. The regular season wasn't really going to feel that important, but the postseason is where the heat gets turned up. So how are you feeling right now?
Yeah, I wasn't convinced. Obviously, I said I had to see us win out to take us seriously. And back to back, by the way. Just want to let y'all know, back to back,
Hey.
back to back.
Yes,
Some
sir.
teams can't. Some teams in the North talk the big game. Some teams in the North thought they had the MVP, thought they had a Defensive Player of the Year, have a triple crown receiver, and didn't make the playoffs. That's you, the Cincinnati Bengals. So,
Mm,
little bro, once again, I'm just gonna get my shots out. Browns, off-season champions every year. So good on them. But I am feeling a little I'll be honest with you. I'm probably the only Ravens fan who feels this way. Maybe I don't, but seeing Zay obviously go down really hurt me because that's 100 yards we had against them a couple weeks ago. That is not going to be with us on Saturday. I don't care if he's day to day. He's not playing. Harbaugh is not tricking me. If we pass the Steelers, and I think he'll play, but it hurts a lot because I know we talked about you have a lot of faith in Bateman, and so do I. It's the guys below him I don't have as much faith in. And this is where I feel like my hatred for Deontay Johnson grew. I don't mean to use it, personally, but it
right.
did. He effed us going down the line. This is why DeCosta got Deontay Johnson was in case of this emergency. And of course it were to happen going into the playoffs. So as for somebody, praying on his downfall, it's even, a little bit more now for me with Deontay Johnson because we really could have used him. But there are 53 men on the roster for a reason. So I need, whether it be Aguilar, Tyler Wallace, Ted Walker, Anthony Miller maybe to step up. But yes, we won the North. That is the first step. And now we have to play the Steelers for the third time. But it is, I'm feeling a lot better than I was a couple weeks ago, I'll tell you that. Especially after the Eagles game. A lot better.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, I bet. I mean, 4 game win streak. The team looks really good right now. The defense has made a complete 180. It's night and day difference from what we saw earlier in this season. Of course, the offense has always been doing what it's doing. But yeah, there is reason to feel some optimism here on this episode 290 of the Purple Rain podcast as the Ravens gear up for the playoffs. Of course, we got a super chat donation. This one's coming from D Was, dropping the two
Per
piece in the
usual.
chat. Thank you so much, brother. We appreciate you for coming through. Says Alex Kemp is the referee on Saturday. Okay.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
this news actually gets a lot more important. Like this, the weekly super chat donations from our guy D Was. Shout out to him again. They're going to get a lot more important because I think the officiating is going to be a lot more scrutinized, right? Just more, we're going to be looking at that a little bit more because in playoff games, like we said before, everything is more condensed, everything is more important. Every quarter, every down, every drive, everything. So getting a penalty for, 10 yards when maybe it was a little iffy, right? That's going to
Yeah.
sting a whole lot more than it did in the regular season. So, Alex Kemp, we will be on your ass on Saturday. I'm just letting you know. And that's Ravens fans and Steelers fans, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But we got to control what we can control and just not make stupid mistakes, right? I don't
Yeah.
want to see a lot of offensive line mistakes at all. That was something that killed us in playoff games in the past. One that really, really sticks out to me was that Bills game from a couple of years ago. Offensive line just could not get it together. I don't know if it was just jitters, what it was, but lots of unforced errors, that really shot us in the foot. And we've struggled with penalties this year. I think we still might be the most penalized team in the league, if not top three, top five,
Yeah.
something like that. So when it comes to playing very sound and disciplined football, is going to be more important than ever this week and just going forward. If we are to go on a deep playoff run, hopefully we make it to the Super Bowl, one game at a time, but we got to play disciplined football. That's going to be a big part of the game plan. I'm
Yeah.
100% sure of that.
Yeah, I know we had Alex Kemp that Monday night game against the Buccaneers. So we are seeing him once again. So I think they had like 8 for 85 that game. But going back to it, man, it's like we have to really just play a clean game of football. Even more so now you're missing your receiver one. Yeah, right here, Bucks game, we had 9 flags called on us. Like that's not gonna win you a Super Bowl. You're not gonna. I would say this right now. You don't win the Super Bowl having 9 flags in the game. You got to play a very clean game. I felt even the Browns game there was some ticky tacky calls where it just like they were just letting them drive down the field for like out of pity because there was no way some of these flags deserve to be called, but that's just the game. But I'm looking at honestly our pass rush and one of them's not even Adebike with I think he has like 4 or 5 roughing the passes this year. Like we cannot have that in these games. You can't be hitting these quarterbacks. I know you're gonna get to them, but tone it down. Keep your cool. Keep your head because that 15-yard penalty, it can make or break. Could give Boswell to me right now, best kicker in the game, hits 50 yards like it's nothing. You can't be giving them those yards where they can possibly get 3 points out of a drive where they should be getting nothing. So it's gonna be big to stay composed. That's big, man. Freaking big.
Yeah, man, absolutely huge. And again, shout out to you, Roosh, for coming through as always. Our guy. Let me see. We got Lisa Ann in the house as LJ is a 3-time MVP. So yes, I mean it is all said and done now, right? The regular season campaigns from Lamar Jackson to Josh Allen to Jared Goff, whoever you want to give it to, right? It's over with. And so the conversations are really, really starting to heat up now. Of course, Josh Allen came in the game for one down yesterday just to keep his starting streak alive. I think he's at like 115 right now. So shout out to him for that. But he didn't play largely, at all in yesterday's game. We saw a lot of Mitchell Trubisky out there. So it is what it is. At this point, I think that us as Ravens fans, we kind of need to just let it go. You know, this is just not what needs to be the focus right now. Like the playoffs are here. Steelers week is here again for the third time this season. It's time to lock in. Instead of focusing on MV3, let's focus on Steelers week part 3 this week, So for me personally, I don't know about you, Alex, but I'm gonna be done talking about the whole MV3 thing, online and whatnot. I've been talking about it a lot on Twitter with people in my mentions and whatnot. But as it stands right now, I am fully focused on the Pittsburgh Steelers and taking care of business at the bank on Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern. That's just me.
I've been done talking about it. It gives me a headache. Genuinely, I could care less about this Mickey Mouse award right now because I know what it's going to go to. And at this point, we're going to bigger and better things. So, on to the next topic. At this point, honestly.
Next topic, yes. So,
Yeah.
of course, we have not talked to you guys since the Browns game. Alex and I have not gotten on live and talked to you guys since the Browns game.
Yeah.
So, I want to get your takeaways, your biggest takeaways from that game. And you mentioned Zay Flowers. We'll just kind of start
Woo!
there, right? We'll start with Zay Flowers, and I'll give you this. I was saying this earlier on the stream. I was saying, Zay Flowers, and personally, I don't think he's going to play Saturday either. Let me just put that out there. I don't think he's going to play. He's dealing with a knee. Harbaugh said today it's day to day, but it's not season ending. You're saying you see right through the bullshit of what Harbaugh's saying there. I can kind of see why you're saying that. But even if he did play on Saturday, he's not going to be 100%. Even if he plays in the divisional round, I don't think he's going to be 100%. The way he went down on that knee, the way he was grabbing at it, he looked to be in some real pain there because of that knee. So, with that being said, even if he were to come back, Zay Flowers is a guy who relies heavily, very, very heavily on his knees, making those cuts, those jukes, things like that to get open because he is a smaller receiver. So he relies on a lot of that shifty, quick twitch stuff, which is going to be a lot harder to pull off with a knee, I word like that. So that's what really, really does concern me about him. His biggest weapon is kind of being 100% and being able to kind of move around the field freely. But what are your thoughts again on Zay Flowers?
Yeah, just talk about that first. He's our best one-on-one receiver, I think. Like against man coverage, I'm trusting him against most corners in the league. He's done it against every single one. Trevon Diggs, he did it against McDuffie. He was doing it against Joey Porter Jr. He was doing it against like to me like he is our number one. I'm not gonna have a debate right now with who is because it's him, 1,000-yard receiver, obviously, and it hurts a lot. I just hope we kind of can prepare without him. And with me saying I see through Harbaugh's BS, like yeah, but he's saying all the right things. Us fans don't deserve to know whether he's going to play or not this week because why are we going to let our opponent know, especially this week, especially like in a playoff game? Why should we let them know what we're going to try out there personnel wise? So I'm all for that, but yeah, I doubt he'll be like 80% maybe if he plays next week. If we were to advance, not going to try to look far too ahead, but just seeing him go down there definitely it sucked the whole energy at the stadium. We're like because first it was Bateman, then it was Zay, and then it was Hamilton. It's like, can we just get these guys off the field right now? Like, and I see, online saying that we're playing players in a meaningless game. Like, no, we had to win the division that game. Like, we had to play that game for a reason. And why you brought up, I think, last week, how us having to play first now kind of screwed us because we had to play all of our starters compared to if it was flipped, Steelers lose, we can maybe go put Lamar in the guys, maybe for a quarter, maybe not the whole game, but
Yeah.
maybe they don't play him. So it sucks there. But as for the game overall, boy, it was cold. It was
Oh yeah, you were
freaking
there.
cold. It was cold. I got down there, I think around like 2:30 p.m. Had a good time. Went in the stadium, and starting it off with a Nate Wiggins pick six happened right in front of us. I mean, I can't start off a better way. That was awesome.
Yeah.
And then it just felt like the offense was stagnant. The offense looked like how it does in a playoff game. The line wasn't doing their assignments, dropping passes in January. Surprise, surprise. Like this is just the same stuff that happens to the Ravens every January game. Like, let's get out the way now compared to this week. But I was pissed off at halftime. I was very pissed off because like that is not the performance that'll win you a playoff game. Turned it up the second half. Bateman stepped up. I
Yeah.
need Mark Andrews to step up, and I need him to take over a playoff game. We talk about the best tight ends in the league. I love Mark Andrews. I'm staring at a signed picture behind my computer right here. But what he hasn't done in his career is take over a playoff game like all the other dominant tight ends in this league have. So I need him to step up big time. 5 catches, 75 yards, maybe a touchdown. That to me is taking over a game for a tight end. Likely's going to be that much more important. Bateman's going to be that much more important. Tylan Wallace, Aguilar, which one's going to step up? I don't know. But with that all being said, AFC North champions again. Michael Pierce picking off a pass. We moved down. That was right in front of
Gosh.
us. That was absolutely hilarious. Cherry on top. But onwards and upwards on a Saturday. Let's beat these guys and send them home for a 5-game losing streak.
No, I agree. Totally agree with you there. You mentioned Mark Andrews and him needing to step up and kind of dominate a playoff game. I totally agree there because Mark Andrews has kind of been silent and non-existent in a lot of his playoff performances, and we can ill afford that, especially with Zay Flowers going down. Like my guy Dre said earlier, when Zay went down, bro, when Zay went down, we did not look that good on offense. Even
Nope.
before Zay went down, I think he had a bad drop, like a real bad drop.
Yep.
It has something to do with his hands. Maybe it was cold. I don't know. But listen, Rashad Bateman, and I want to give him his flowers really quick.
Yep.
You and I have been pushing the Rashad Bateman agenda for years now at this point, and it's all coming to a head this year. He got his extension with us, and he's been proving why that was a good move from EDC to extend him. 5 catches for 76 yards and a touchdown. I said it myself on Twitter. I think I even texted you this. I think he had a nice volume performance, a lot better. Like it was better than what you would normally get from Rashad Bateman. And when I say normally, I mean like normally this season. Normally we're looking at like, okay, 2 catches, 3 catches, maybe a touchdown, something like that, and like 40 yards or something like that. But 5 for 76, and a touchdown, it goes to show. And then you saw when Lamar was targeting Bateman, especially on that touchdown. I know Bateman was wide open, but Lamar Jackson literally hits the Steph Curry turnaround three, just knowing Bateman was going to catch the ball.
Yep.
That was one thing. But then another thing, multiple times to keep drives alive, he's going to Rashad Bateman, and Rashad Bateman's not only catching the ball and just going down, but he's trying to get upfield, trying to get yak, do whatever he can. And like that was just so, so important to see for me, Rashad Bateman to just kind of gain that confidence and just gain that connection, that chemistry with Lamar Jackson, especially going into the playoffs, because we're going to need it more than ever. We're going to need it more than ever. Like you said, we're looking at guys like Mark Andrews to step up. Isaiah Likely is another guy who I want to see get more targets. But I'll say this though. I'll say this. When the offense was struggling, right? And when I say the offense, I mean like the passing game was struggling a little bit. Who was there to step up? It was big number 22, who had his 31st birthday on Saturday,
Yeah.
Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry, need I remind everybody listening right now, we got 113 people watching live. Again, thank you so much for
Man,
joining
thank
the
you.
show. Appreciate y'all for coming through. Make sure you like the video if you're on YouTube. If you're on X, maybe pop over to YouTube, like the video, subscribe to the channel as well. We are the Purple Rain Podcast. But Derrick Henry, 20 carries, a buck 38, 7 yards a carry, and 2 touchdowns.
Come on now.
This is the workhorse. This is the workhorse. It is time. January was built for guys like Derrick Henry, running backs more specifically. Why? I truly do believe in my heart of hearts, Todd Monken's game plan. I don't want to get too deep into the preview for the Steelers game because we got Thursday for that. We might even have a guest on for it. Stay tuned. But I truly do believe that the game plan for Todd Monken is going to be to run the air out of the football. In that cold, frigid 20-degree air, possibly snowing. It's going to be windy at the bank on Saturday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. Run the air out of the football with Derrick Henry. I expect him to get no less than 23 to 25 carries, if I'm being completely honest with you. The game plan should be go out there and make these guys tackle Derrick Henry over and
Yep.
over and over again, literally until their limbs do not agree with their will to do so. Like when those two things don't match up anymore. Because listen, I was telling people earlier this on stream. If you've ever played, tackle football in the cold, it's hard to repeatedly tackle somebody with when your body is
Yeah,
freezing like that.
yeah,
It's really really tough. So with Derrick Henry being the physical specimen he is, 6'4", 200 and some odd pounds, it's going to be tough on those DBs and those linebackers, quite frankly, trying to bring him down time and time again. I think that's going to be the game plan going forward. But this is the time of year. This is the time of year, and he's the reason, Derrick Henry, why this is supposed to be different, why this is supposed to look different in this postseason. There is no more, oh, we don't know if we can trust, a Gus Edwards or Justice Hill to bring us home. No, this is the king. This is Derrick Henry. The whole reason we got him was for this very moment.
yeah. You put it there, pretty damn good. And I'm gonna just add on to that. I think this is when you use Charlie Collar to chip your guys like Watt, guys like Highsmith. You're not going to be really that afraid of him in the passing game, but you have got to use him to help, just run block, pass block, because 77 is liability. I'm sorry, that guy is awful. He is not a starting caliber guard in this league. Maybe the XFL, not the NFL. I was in the 500, so I have the all 22 film basically at my
Yeah.
disposal, bro. It's and this is where my gripes are with Harbaugh. Like, he is so just stubborn and wants to be so right that like it's going to hurt the team. Like, the offensive line, if we had Zeitler over Falele, I'd feel so much better about Saturday. I don't trust him whatsoever. He is just letting guys run by him, and he's like, it's like he's playing with lag. You play a video game, and you go to throw the ball, and you're just like 1 second behind everybody. That's what it's like with him playing football.
Yeah.
So that is that's a big question mark right there. But going to the running, yes, you have got to feed Henry. January 11th, 2020, Derrick Henry ran all over us with the Titans. January 11th, 2025, he's on our side. I'm expecting a similar performance of that caliber with a much better quarterback at his disposal. I think somebody in here put a great point. Purple Bird, yep, and the Lamar keeping 55-yard rushing touchdown. Yep. Don't run Lamar until they keep on trying to sell out on Henry, and you can just bite him once like the Texans did. Texans kept biting. Lamar said, yep, I'll take that, and I'll go 40 yards for a touchdown. I just
Yeah.
blow by everybody. Same thing this time. I need, like other guys step up, likely, obviously, and Andrews. I saw another really good comment. Yeah, Don Morel, I formation with Ricard, Ron Henry. This is why you pay these guys. You got to, you can't sit here and play scared. It's why you sign Henry. It's why, give Ricard an extension. Go out there and just bully these guys. So I don't want to talk too much about it, but that's just kind of just an early preview to what we are expecting on Saturday, and keys to victory, honestly, because you cannot beat this team without using your prize offseason pickup. And what's going on, Don? Glad you're in here.
Salute to you, Don. Appreciate you for coming through. Got 121 people watching live. Again, thank all of y'all for joining the show tonight. We appreciate y'all. Ravens are looking ahead to the playoffs, right? Saturday is the first playoff game. Like I said to start the show, this feels like the start of the season, the real start of the season for the Ravens, because there's just such high expectations when it comes to this organization. And over the years, we've gotten so close. Maybe it is our time every 12 years. You know what they say, 2000, 2012. And hey, look, 2024,
Maybe.
2025 season, let's get it. Let's get it. Let me see what else you guys are saying here. Lisa says, will Zay play in the Pro Bowl? Hopefully not. Hopefully he's in New
We don't want to. We
Orleans.
don't care about.
Yeah,
the
we
Pro
don't. We
Bowl.
don't even. We don't even care about that one.
We don't care about Pro
We want to see
Bowl.
him in New Orleans.
We don't care about
MVP.
individual awards. We don't
None of
care
that.
about. We don't care about that.
We need one of these.
Yes.
One of those. That's what we need. That's what we're looking for. All right. Let me see what else y'all are saying here. Sam says low key Harbs looked locked in during his press conference. Wait, during the press conference
Today.
talking after the game or earlier today? Okay,
I'm gonna go
yeah,
today because that Zoom call, he was not giving any of those reporters a light of day. He just was very short. Didn't want to give them too much information, and even that the press conference after the when Derrick Henry was talking, like, I hope Harbaugh realizes you don't have that much time coaching left, because you have a short leash. I think like if you have a really good roster now, so we can't keep on going up short. Like, I think this is a great chance to maybe go out there and do something, because these other teams in the AFC like aren't really that dominating. I think there will be a big surprise this week in the AFC, but I'm not going to say, I'm not going to jinx anybody, but I think a team does get knocked off that's a higher seed. It's not us. But yeah, you have got to take every advantage possible, and we're playing a team on a 4-game losing streak. Don't let them
Wait a
stab it.
minute. You've got the Broncos beating the Bills, don't
I didn't
you?
say what conference. I didn't say what conference. A certain quarterback is still in concussion protocol. I'm saying that right now.
Okay. All right. I got you.
Yeah,
I'm picking up what
yeah,
you're putting down.
yeah.
All right, let me
That's
see what
scary.
else we got here. It is. Dre says he agrees with Deshaun, saying we should bring in Odell Beckham Jr. I don't expect much, but I have more faith in OBJ as wide receiver 2 over Nelly. I hadn't thought about this until just now when they're bringing it up. Odell is still out there, right? Uh, do you think that would it be feasible or would it make sense to bring in Odell Beckham, especially considering the current state of our wide receiver room? You being an
Not
Odell guy.
yeah, not anymore. I mean, we play in 6 days.
Hmm.
I know he knows the offense, but if we're relying on Odell Beckham Jr. off the street in a playoff game, we have big problems. And that's coming from an Odell stand, and it'd be cool. But if we get him now, then I'm like, all right, yeah, Zay ain't playing a couple of games. But who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Let me see. We got my guy Dre in the building, of course, says, I can see Bateman getting some PIs on Joey Porter Jr. He's really grabby. And yeah,
Yeah,
I was talking about this earlier on stream. I could totally see Joey Porter Jr. or Rashad Bateman drawing the assignment of Joey Porter Jr. in this one. But I've got faith in Bateman. Honestly, what it's going to come down to is, can anybody on this team beat this press man coverage? Because I think that's what they're going to be playing pretty heavily against us. Trying to keep guys close to the line of scrimmage, trying to knock guys off of their route. It's going to be windy, it's going to be cold. So whatever they can do to just not give up free and easy completions, I think they will do that. They're going to try to be more physical. And I don't know about you, Alex, but I was thinking about the game plan or what the message would be in the locker room this week for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And honestly, if I'm Mike Tomlin, I am preaching want to and willpower for this week. You know what I mean? And just like bring in your lunch pail. It's going to be a hard nosed, gritty AFC North winter game. Mid January. It's going to be cold. It's going to be a tough fought battle, right? And the only thing, because the Steelers are nowhere near as talented as this Ravens team is this year, right? They're not talented. They're not more talented at quarterback, running back, receiver, tight end, on defense, special anywhere really, you know? So literally all they can rely on is just being more physical and being more tough than us. If the Ravens were to drop the game against the Steelers this week, knock on wood, right? If that were to happen, it would be sheerly because we got bullied, right? We got pushed around all night. And here's where I'm looking at the trenches. You bring up Pro Bowl Falele. You got to see him live the other day and how he seems kind of stuck in the mud and slow footed a lot of the time, you know. And Makari, even Makari didn't play a lot of the game, right? You had
yeah,
Voorhees in there. You had Voorhees in there, and Voorhees was a little shaky. He was a little shaky. He had 2 or 3 maybe bad reps, but other than that, I thought he looked pretty decent. You know, so this offensive line, and of course, I have faith in the defensive line. The defensive line, Matabike, Travis Jones, Calvin Noy, Adafe Owe having the best seasons of their lives right now. Those guys got to step up still. But I'm looking at the offensive line. We cannot afford to get pushed around because what happens when the offensive line gets pushed around? That's going to lead to a deficit of points, which is going to lead to a lack of points for us. And before you know it, we're going to be in a fourth quarter shootout with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Need I remind everybody, before Marlon Humphrey's pick six of Russell Wilson the other week, that was still a game.
yep,
That was still a football game. So anybody who's expecting the Ravens to automatically cover this 8.5, 9.5
yeah,
point spread and then just kind of blow out
yeah,
the Steelers,
yeah,
that ain't what it is. That ain't what it is this week. No, this is like a full blown throw the records out the window, throw the talent out of the
yeah,
window. This is willpower. This is a willpower and want to type of game.
yeah,
That's what it boils down to.
yeah. And I'm seeing Pickens had his worst game. I thought I was a pro last week. I'm like, all right, great. So we're gonna have him throw him out there against Stevens now. I'm fully expecting him to just and I don't want to sound pessimistic at all, but it's just I don't trust Brandon Stevens. Like the way I feel about Falele is kind of I feel about Brandon Stevens. He's had his way with Pickens. Pickens has had his way with Stevens his whole career, stepping over him, making big catches, and it's got to end at some point, right? Like you have to lock him down. And last time we played him, they didn't have Deshaun Elliott, Larry Ogunjobi, Pickens. Like this is a different team. You can't take them lightly. I get being a fan, but I'm trying to be realistic here. Like, it's not going to be a blowout. It's going to be close. And if Darius Washington doesn't, lay out a Russell Wilson who thought he was back in 2012, 2013, we may have lost that game. 100%. That's a touchdown. That's 7 points we took off the board right there from a fumble. So and then also in the first drive we had two fumbles. Lamar got strip sacked. We get that back. Desmond King fumbles a punt return. We get that back. We've got to protect the ball. If we thought those protecting the ball drills were intense a couple weeks ago, it's even more intense this week. So it's a great thing that we can possibly knock our rivals out, but it's not going to be easy whatsoever. And I really want to knock out Tomlin because I'm kind of tired of like the whole like glorifying him. His over 500 record to me is the equivalent of our preseason record. What is it doing for you? It's not a trophy. So I would love to knock them out and really put pressure on him because I've seen now Steeler fans are like growing angry at Tomlin. Like, let them want him out. Like, let them just blow up. 5-game losing streak to end their season. Please, Ravens, you have the opportunity to really set back a rival, maybe for a year or so now if you knock them out. So please, just please win this.
Yeah, man. And you going back to Brandon Stevens really quick. I forgot all about him. I mean, there was one drive in that game, and Don says Brandon Stevens is the Falele of cornerbacks, and then DG says Stevens is way better than Falele.
They both get
Listen,
picked
man,
on by the
they do,
opposition team.
they do, and that was kind of gonna be my whole point here. There was a drive in the third quarter, I want to say it was, where literally I think 6 straight passes went to Brandon Stevens' way. It's just if you don't think that teams who are gearing up for a playoff game against the Baltimore Ravens are not going to specifically try to target number 21, then I mean, you're just foolish. You're just foolish. I mean, that's going to happen. I can see us trying to control the game, lean on teams with the run game, and that's all fine and dandy. But when the Ravens step on the field on defense, if the pass rush is not getting home like immediately, which at certain times this season it does not, you know, they're going to go for Brandon Stevens. It's just a
Thank
foregone conclusion, man.
that's exactly what's gonna happen. Like Mahomes, they will be picking on him. Josh Allen, they will be. Hell, Russell Wilson will be picking on. Like
Oh
they'll will
yeah,
throw. Like I kind of hope it is windy for the fact that when he throws that fucking moonball up, part of my language, it just goes out of bounds or Aaron, and we have somebody back there, Kyle Hamilton, picking it off.
yeah,
Like I really appreciate people trying to support Number 21, but like, what have you shown me this season? I really haven't seen that much from Stevens. Last year I saw it. This year
yeah.
it's just like last year you looked like you were going to be a 10 $11 million corner in the league. Now it's like shit, vet minimum maybe. So like, can you for these next 4 games hopefully can you lock in and just shut down your receivers? Because Mike McDonald, I mean not Mike, Zach Orr turned it around. I thought he's been looking good, and even the touchdown they like you said they were picking on him. They were throwing his way. They weren't even looking anybody else's way. Not
No,
Wiggins' way, not Humphrey's way. Number 21. So
yeah.
that's going to be they're probably going to have attack 21 on their game plan this week, and I just hope we have a answer for that.
Me too, man. Because even let's just say, hypothetically speaking, and hopefully speaking, the Ravens do get past the Steelers in the wild card round. Who are we looking at playing in the divisional round? Not
Right.
not to look too far ahead, but just kind of looking at the receivers we'd be playing. They've got a Cortland Sutton that they can offer. The Broncos do, right? The Bills have a Keon Coleman, and is Amari Cooper back or no?
I don't know. I don't believe so. I don't
Okay.
actually. I don't. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know.
But even Keon Coleman got his
Yeah.
against Brandon Stevens in that game
Yep.
in week 4.
Yep.
I remember
Yep.
that. And I was
Yep.
just like, bro, if this happens all year, which it did, it continued to happen all year long. Jerry Judy got over on him. Malik
Yep.
Neighbors got over on him.
Yep.
It was a couple of guys,
Yep.
so whoever we do face in the playoffs is going to be part of their game plan to go after Brandon Stevens. And I just hope that he plays with a better sense of pride. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like getting his head around and getting the ball skills to kind of attack the play is something that he struggled with all season long. And last season, he was a whole lot better at it, which is so strange, for you to go from being considered, oh, well, maybe this should be our cornerback one. Brandon Stevens, a lot of people were saying last season, and rightfully so, because he was playing so damn well. Hey, this guy is playing better than Marlon Humphrey for a stretch of
Yeah.
time. He's playing better than any other corner we have. And I think it has a lot to do with us losing, of course, Denard Wilson, our cornerbacks coach from last season, who's now with the Titans. I don't know. I just think he's not being coached up the right way. I mean, this is a
Yeah.
guy who it's not like he's been playing DB his whole life. He actually played had a stint with running back, in college. So it's just like I think you always need a guy kind of in his ear, coaching him up. And I don't know who's in his ear right now, but they
Yeah,
need to say something a little bit different because I'm not liking what I've been seeing from Brandon Stevens, and even the national media is
yeah.
starting to recognize it. Right, I see guys on Get Up and First Take and
Marcus
all these other
Spears.
shows. Marcus Spears, he said he was like Brandon Stevens scares the hell out of me, and I'm like, me too, bro. You're not alone. You are not alone. Daniel Falele also scares the hell out of me too. With the slow feet sometimes, man. It's
Yeah,
still amazing to me that he's a Pro Bowler alternate, but yeah,
I do want to go back. I don't want to just take a trip down memory lane. 2014, the Steelers beat us. I think Big Ben put like 5 touchdowns on our head in Heinz Field on Sunday Night Football. We go into Pittsburgh. We shut them down. We beat them in the playoffs. Crockett Gilmore had a touchdown. I think Torrey had a touchdown. Um, Suggs made that crazy catch. And like records go out the window. Like that's why I'm not trying to be too, purple shades on because anything can happen. Yeah, we just beat them by what 17 points a couple weeks ago, but that game doesn't matter to me anymore. That pick six doesn't matter. Like new season, so I do hope everybody just wakes up and I have faith in the mentality of this team, and it started with that video of Derrick Henry in the locker room. You saw the
yeah,
video I'm talking about, like saying like
yeah.
like we have got to lock in, like we've got to do our jobs, and I thought Harbaugh's face was funny because you're the head coach and you have like your new guy who's been here less than a year, kind of telling you how it should be, and he's tasted as much as about everybody else on the team has tasted AFC Championship. He knows what it's like to come up short to get to the Kansas City Chiefs. So I believe you me. I believe if he's not getting his fair share, we will see him telling somebody to get his ass in the game. And if not, if he does get 6 carries, I'm backing Harbaugh as much as I can. But after that, I would truly be like, you've got to go if you get 6 carries. If you're Derrick Henry, anything less than 15 is a fireable offense for me.
Unacceptable.
Yeah,
Yeah, somebody would have to pay for that. Those transgressions towards this Ravens organization, somebody would have to pay for that. I truly do think that if the Ravens, again, if they were to drop any playoff game this season and Derrick Henry got less than, I'd say, like you said, like 15 to 20 carries, something or somewhere around there, and it wasn't a blowout, it would just be unfathomable to just, try to run it back again, same coaching staff,
yep,
not even worry about, not even ask any questions. And if I'm Steve Bisciotti, Ravens owner, I'm still looking at Harbaugh with the same side eye that I was looking at him with in 2017 before we
yeah,
drafted Lamar Jackson. Like, hey, bro, we got to get some playoff. I mean, we have 2 playoff wins, right? 2 playoff wins with Lamar Jackson, and this is year 7. I think that's unacceptable. So
mm-hmm.
I think it's honestly Super Bowl or bust this year for this Ravens team. We've talked about it before. This Ravens team is in prime position. We were in prime position last year, AFC Championship game, with what we felt at the time all the weapons in the world that we needed. Now you add in a Derrick Henry to that, and let's say Zay Flowers is back um, sooner than later. There's no excuses. There's zero excuses. Zero excuses if you're a John Harbaugh.
Yeah,
So I think a lot of eyes, of course, national media, they're not looking towards John Harbaugh to be a scapegoat or anything like that. Just like lots of national media aren't looking to Mike Tomlin to be any sort of scapegoat right now either. Because everybody they're just well-renowned coaches in this league, very well respected in the media as well. But when you're a fan of these teams and you watch them play week in, week out, year in, year out, right? And you see the same results, you see the same results. Where they just trot out the same kind of efforts out there every year. It gets old. It gets stale. And it's not to say that John Harbaugh or Mike Tomlin aren't good coaches because they're great coaches. I really do think that they're great coaches, but sometimes the relationship just gets stale.
yeah,
That's just what it is. So I'm hoping that John Harbaugh I'm hoping he really took something from what Derrick Henry said, because Derrick Henry, I think, in this game against the Browns, he showed more emotion than
mm-hmm.
I think he's ever shown with the Ravens. I think he really is kind of sensing the moment, and I expect him. I fully expect for Derrick Henry to take over a lot of these playoff games, hopefully starting with the Steelers game. He knows what it takes, right? And he's going to be the difference maker, the catalyst on top of what we have in Lamar Jackson, of course, going into this postseason and how effective we can be on offense, at least, right? Defense is peaking at the right time, but I'm speaking about the offense right now, who has struggled to put up points in these playoffs. They've struggled. You know, Ideally, I think we need to go out there against the Steelers and make an opening statement, a wild card statement, put up 30, hang 30 on them. I mean, we just did it a couple of weeks ago. I know that, but like we got to score points. And the Steelers offense, they've been struggling lately. Honestly, early on in this game, it's going to be one of those war of attrition type things. Who can establish the run first? They're going to try to hit us hard with the Najee Harris, Jalen Warren combo. We're going to try to hit them hard with the Derrick Henry. Of course, Justice Hill should be back as well. So that'll be a big help for us too. But man, it's going to be all hands on deck, truly. And I really do hope that John Harbaugh has those guys ready to go out there prepared, because so many times in the playoffs, we've come out looking so flat, looking nothing like we've looked in the regular season. And that's led to dogfights, right? It's led to dogfights,
Yeah,
even in the damn Texans divisional game last
yep,
season. We came out flat, right? And it turned into a dogfight for a little bit until Lamar Jackson really just put his foot down and say, you know what, F this. Like I'm going off, and that's what he did. I think he had 3-4 touchdowns that game, something like that.
yeah.
And we win the game in dazzling fashion. But what do you got for me?
Maybe this is this game where Amazon Prime, 8 p.m. Like I said before last week, Lamar's 2 wins have come on ESPN. So maybe we can turn the page, dawn to a new era of Ravens playoff football. But I'm right there with you. We start off slow in every single playoff game possible. Last year started off slow in both of them. What, 7 points in the first half, 10 points in the game against the Texans. Like, when are we going to sit here and put up back to back touchdowns? Or put up 10 points in the first quarter? We don't. It's every single game. It feels like in this era. You know, just we start off slow. So that's gonna be a big key, and maybe it's gonna be good because we've now played 17 straight games. Starters haven't rested. We have some sort of just continuity. We just are just keeping things rolling. I hope that's the case, but hopefully, just for me, the best start possible is the Bills game. First play, Derrick Henry, 87-yard touchdown rush. Like that to me, like breaking something off like that, or just having a big
Set the
splash play,
tone.
like you need to set the tone off right there. And if you can, that leaves us in a good spot. Just think about the 2009 wildcard game against the Patriots. Ray Rice, first play, gone.
Yeah,
Like you need a big play like that to really just kind of give this team hope that like this, why not us? So,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it's like I said, records out the window. We'll talk more
That's
about
a
it on
good
Thursday.
point.
But
No, that's a good point. No, I love that point. Just let me kind of add on to that just 1 second, because like, yeah, I mean that really is what it's all about. Like, you need that why not us moment, right? That moment that gives you the confidence, the upper hand feeling in the matchup, right? Because if you let the other team get that why not us moment before you do, suddenly momentum shifts and it's a totally different ball game, right? And honestly, Vegas is so smart because they know, like the odds makers and whatnot, because as soon as a why not us moment happens, like say for example, again, knock on wood, the Steelers get the first why not us moment, right? And Najee Harris breaks off a big run like that. I guarantee you the odds are going to shift dramatically, because that will breathe, it would just breathe so much life into an underdog team, right? And sometimes when you're the favorite, you feel kind of like that pressure, like, dang, well, like who's going to be the first one to like really start this one off for us? So somebody's got to step up on offense. I mean, last week it was Nate Wiggins. Nate Wiggins with that pick six really kind of put the Ravens in that mentality. Okay, let's put our foot on the gas. Let's take care of business. Let's go home. I think we need the same thing. You got to start fast on these guys. You got to jump on them quick, or else you're going to make them feel like they have a chance.
yeah.
Um, Let me go ahead and bring this up here from Cal. What's going on, Cal? Says, I don't know how late I am, but my work is canceled for the night. What's up,
Uh,
gang? Are you ready to make Steelers fans cry on Saturday?
I'm
Yes,
not falling into the
actually.
trap. I'm not falling into the trap. Nope, not happening. Because I am still like I'm right now. Like I'm just Steeler Devil Magic, Ravens playoff performances in prior years. I'm not falling into this trap. I'm nervous. I'll tell you that right now. Like confidence level like 65%.
Mm,
It would have been maybe 80 with Zay, but I'm not going to discredit the Steelers. Like they're on a 4 game losing streak, but I know what they can do. I
yeah,
Russell turned some crazy moment back and start dotting us up, but I'm not ready to make it. I want to make you cry, but I don't know if it's going to make it
yeah.
happen. So who knows?
Hopefully though. I mean, just speaking for
Yeah,
me,
hopefully.
Cal, I
Hopefully.
hope that you're crying on Saturday. I do. I'm sorry, I do. But listen, shout out to Cal, because Cal was actually the winner of this year's Rain Gang Fantasy League,
Ah,
which was it just wrapped up. I think she actually took on Alex in the championship
yeah,
round,
yeah.
and she found a way to win that one. And so big shout out to Cal. I think it was her first time ever winning that league. So shout out to you, Cal. We appreciate you for participating. But yeah. So I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap there. Again, guys, we didn't want to get too much into the weeds with the Steelers matchup because we want to do a full preview and we want to do it right on the Thursday episode of the show. So in this one, we were wrapping up the Brown stuff, talking about Zay Flowers, the struggles with Brandon Stevens, Falele, all that stuff, what the Ravens need to do, what mindset they need to have going to the playoffs. We wanted to touch on all that today. So next episode, we can really lock in and focus on the Steelers. Okay. So again, and again, by the way, we're in a new studio. We're in a brand new studio. So some things are going to look a little bit different on stream, just to let you know. Again, put it in the comments below how you experience the stream. Does it sound good? Does it look good? We would love to know that stuff. We would love to get your feedback on that. But with that being said, my name is Sutton Def. You can follow me on X or Instagram at Sutton Def. You guys know the drill. You can follow him on Instagram at simplyas10.prod and on X at simplyas10. And then, of course, our sponsor, Manscaped. You can go on manscaped.com, put in our code PRP at checkout, 20% off plus the free international shipping. You guys already know the drill. But yeah, Cal says praying for healthy teams all around.
Yes.
Yeah, same here, same here, same here. But yeah, with that being said, I'm gonna let my guy Alex take us out.
Thank you all for coming through to episode 290 of the Purple Rain Podcast. We love you. We appreciate you. And as always, stay positive, test negative.
Yes, 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 and never, ever, ever forget, even on the rainiest of days, to call God. It's been episode 290 of PRP. We're gonna catch you guys in the